It is high.
Voicemails.
It is far.
Voicemails.
Talkin' Yanks voicemail show with DVD and Jones.
Welcome to the Talking Yanks voicemail app. I am Joe's McFly, and I am here with BBD, and we are here for you. Alex Rapp in the Grappler's Corner, and we are here to listen to your voicemails, as we are every week. 908-845-5792. We are here by you and for you. We're here to get into the voicemails. Who's ready? If you're ready, say I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready.
I'm ready. Here's the first one.
What's up, guys? It's Lucius. Curious what your guys' thoughts are on The Martian coming up, since it doesn't make any goddamn sense. Cashman said a few days ago that right now Verdugo is their best option, which is why The Martian isn't being called up. So what changed? Since DJ's being sent down, I can't see them benching Verdugo for multiple games. And why do it when Verdugo is just now sort of hitting? Will Stanton see less time?
Well,
There's a few parts of that question.
yes. I think the introduction of competition is not a bad thing. I think getting Judge days off is not a bad thing. I think that Verdugo feeling kind of like, hey, somebody's here and could take away my playing time. I did say competition. That's not a bad thing. I think if you could play Soto less in right field because Giancarlo is resting, it's not a bad thing. I think it's September.
Mm-hmm.
I also think that honestly, DJ's actually hurt. That's one thing. The other thing is that they're looking at it as, he did say he needs to play every day.
Yeah.
So him saying that kind of shows me that he's going to be playing every day. So I think everybody else around him will lose time, most notably Verdugo. And
Seems like the candidate to lose the most time.
Grisham's like abyss.
Yeah, under no fault of his own,
yes.
but he already was kind of there.
Right. What do you think
Yeah.
happened with the Yankees? You think that the Yankees, because there was like a whole outcry as soon as he said that, saying he gives us the best chance to win, and I think he had like 4 ground outs, and I think he like leads all of baseball and forever on ground outs, and he is starting to hit now.
Yeah, it's it's an interesting spot that they put themselves in, because like they talked about like that Verdugo gives them the best chance to win. They waited out this whole, he was statistically the worst hitter in baseball for like 3 months, but they stuck with him, and he finally started hitting a little bit. And in my head, when they didn't call Dominguez up, among the many thoughts that happened that we aired out a week ago, like maybe they were going to give Verdugo another week, 2 weeks, whatever, to prove that the 9-game hot stretch was real. And like, it didn't end. So there is like a, what changed? What is the idea here? Were you just like lying before, like just to get through?
I would have put
the
it past
period, like what? Because DJ being hurt is just straight up not what makes more playing time available to Dominguez. Makes the actual roster spot available, sure. Birdie coming back as well. Duke Ellis, R.I.P. But
theoretically, it should actually make Cabrera getting more playing time.
it's like, hey, maybe he's trending that way based on the conversation we had with Boone probably yesterday at the time you're listening to this. Like, they're going to work Cabrera in a little more at first base. He's been getting to second base late in some games recently. They got him a start at shortstop. So Cabrera, I think we're going to see some mixing of him in. Verdugo's obviously the one that's going to lose the most playing time by Dominguez being up. I do think they're planning on twice a week or so Stanton sits, tough righty or something. just to be able to stack lefties and get Verdugo back in there. Judge, they like getting Judge a DH day. Maybe they get one or two of those for Soto down the stretch. Between now and the end of the season, like Judge and Soto probably each get a day off. Like,
I honestly don't know what changed. I did remember reading somewhere that there was like a divide almost inside the org, talking about like people that want to bring up Jasson and people that don't. Yet that they just feel that
because there's like developmental reasons to, if you like truly believe in Verdugo and like think that that's a fine situation, like leave that where it is. But if there is that, there were like signs in the minor leagues that like maybe Dominguez isn't quite ready. I know it feels weird as somebody who only watches the major league games. It's like we saw a week of him last year. He was good. The numbers look good. But there's been like some reporting I've seen that like he was making some like worse swing decisions than usual down there. He obviously still has work to do from the right side of the plate as a switch hitter. His defense, especially as he's learning the corner outfield spots a little more. I don't think he'd played a game in the corner outfield till this season. Like there's like reasons to believe he can benefit from more minor league time, especially with a path to playing 7 days a week in the big leagues, not super obvious, but
maybe he can learn through osmosis.
Yeah, I mean, there's something to be said for even on the days you don't play, like being around big league locker rooms and
around
games
Soto.
And being able to have access to these guys and watch the major leaguers. Like,
I believe that
Derek Jeter came up in parts of '95 and was like with the team in the playoffs and all that. Look at like you're just watching, kid. And that's like one of the things that like benefited him the most later in his career. They kind of did that with Peraza the first time they were going to call him up. He's his own weird situation, but
coming into this year, that's how I felt. I was very excited about Dominguez coming back. Like the prospect of Dominguez coming back and playing with and being around Soto and like learning how, because he came up young, he came up highly touted and all of that stuff, and he did it. So to learn some, and not only that, but you guys speak the same language and you're both Dominican, and there's a lot of like familiarity.
Like just there's a lot of touch points there.
There's a lot of touch points there that they can be able to kind of like feed off of each other, and then because I know some people, you look at Soto, he doesn't look like, oh, he's one of the kids, but he kind of is.
Yeah,
he's just an experienced one and a
4
very good
years
one.
older than Dominguez, who's like we think of as a baby.
Yes.
And like guys are gonna learn from Judge and all that too. But like some guys like hard to replicate what Judge and Stanton do as like monster humans. Like one of the things we've liked the most watching Soto is like he's built like a normal person. Like he's clearly just like not that all these guys work very hard, but like Soto, like it's not like he's like the most athletically like blessed. He's not like this blazing speed guy. He's not a giant. Doesn't have these like huge muscles that are like giving him insane strength. Like he's built like a normal guy. Works hard, smart hitter, smart baseball player, and there's a lot to learn by just like watching a guy like that day in day out.
100%.
And Dominguez, I think, is going to gravitate towards that. There's going to be time for him. Like they're going to fit him in, and they spoke themselves into the corner of when he's up, you have to play him a lot. I'm fine with him 2 days a week not being in there if that's like how the rotation's working. I want to watch it.
And I don't want to.
But they had said that's not going to happen.
The one thing I don't want about Soto, Soto. The one thing I don't want about Jasson Dominguez is them saying, oh, he's not hitting against righties to platoon him. No, he needs to learn how to hit. Against lefties, he's not hitting righty. So he's never going to get better unless you play him against righties. So, against lefties.
Yeah.
So
Get that
batting right. You know what I mean? So I'm good on that. That's good stuff. But we don't really know as to what made Brian Cashman change that decision, or if that could have been a call above him. It could have been somebody above him who said, all right, it's time, bring him up.
Just do it. The PPI thing doesn't matter. Rookie of the year eligibility, he's eligible, whatever. it is a confusing just like order of operations there because like 3 days earlier or whatever, Friday in Chicago, Cashman made the trip out and talked to the media and made mention of Verdugo giving them the best chance. And
Well, there was an outcry.
For it to just be different.
There was
3
an
days
outcry
later.
after that publicly, and it could have been a decision above him that was made to bring him up.
Yeah. Make the room. Duke Ellis was on the team.
Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, like you guys mentioned, this episode will be out tomorrow. Mm-hmm. But do you want to try and take a crack at what tonight's lineup might be? They're facing Seth Lugo, so a tough
Versus a
righty.
righty. They're not sitting Stanton twice in a row. I'm inclined. Glaber, Soto, Judge, Wells, Stanton, 1-5. That's just like the normal default. Where Dominguez ends up batting is interesting. It like probably should be Jazz, and Jazz was in front of him last night.
So the 5 you have Glaber, Soto, Judge, Wells, Stanton, right?
Versus righties, that's like what they run out. So 6, 7, 8, 9 is interesting.
They did Jazz ahead of Dominguez.
They did Jazz ahead of Dominguez last night. I'll go confirm that.
But they might go ahead with that as well.
So probably that again. So it's Jazz 6, Dominguez 7,
Jazz 6, Dominguez 7. I don't think,
and it's Rizzo, Volpe, and Verdugo out tonight.
I think Verdugo's out tonight.
It's got to be out tonight.
Unless you're giving, I don't think.
Unless we're getting a surprise.
Unless
Judge
you're
or
giving,
Soto's off.
Yeah,
but
Soto.
Stanton was already out last night, so it's not going to be him.
It's not him. Rizzo's in.
Rizzo's in. They don't have. They're going to get Oswaldo a start at first base at some point. Boone told us, but I'm guessing that would be like maybe tomorrow versus Reagan's just tough lefty. That would be the day to get Rizzo out of the lineup, but.
Yeah, give me Dominguez in there again.
Dominguez is going to be in there again. I guess it really.
Verdugo's sitting tonight.
Verdugo's got to be sitting tonight, and yeah, I think Jazz 6, Dominguez 7. Probably the right.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It keeps guys in the same sequence as yesterday. One spot down. With
when Dominguez
Stanton
starts hitting, then I want him behind Stanton.
Yeah, there's. I guess you can say the same for either guy, but Jazz especially without like not chaotic, but like he makes things happen. He wreaks havoc on the base paths. Him being on base for the bottom of the lineup is very interesting. If I were to like choose which of those guys to be in front of the other,
Yeah,
it's interesting.
it is.
Dominguez, if Dominguez is 7, which we think he's going to be tonight, lowest he's batted in the big leagues. 6 was the lowest last night previously. So that's good stuff.
All right.
It's been a weird way they've used him. Every time he's up, he bats 5th or 3rd until last night when he's up for good, and he's 6th. And tonight we think he's 7.
Yeah. That's the lineup. What else we got?
Audio only crowd. Talking Jake, heard of him? Just sitting here changing shirts.
Oh, big
right behind Joe's. So that's what you missed there.
Yeah. All right. So next caller has some quiet growing concerns about a Yankee bat.
Okay.
Maybe it'll play.
One day.
Joez, Bieber, big fan of the show. How are we doing today? My name is Preston. I'm from Queens, New York. So it seems as though Aaron Judge is bookending his year with some pretty lackluster months. Do we think that this will carry into the postseason, or am I just being way too pessimistic seeing him play rather poorly for the first 2 weeks of September? Go Yanks.
Go Yanks.
Go Yanks.
Well, first thing I will say is that first 2 weeks is a little aggressive. It's the first week, and yesterday was Monday, so and he got 2 hits yesterday and a walk. So he was on base 3 times. So we're not. No, I don't know when he sent this voicemail. So I'm not gonna say the first 2 weeks. First week. Now the real question is, do you want him to struggle early? He's gonna struggle. I'd rather him struggle now and then figure it out in September and then get hot toward the end and go into October hot. Versus the other way around. Oh, he's hot right now and going for 60-something homers. I'm actually really happy that he has the Paw Patrol curse until further notice, because when Judge hits his homers, he hits them in bunches. We've seen what happened in April. April, he didn't hit. People were saying, oh, what's happening now? He's gone. I don't know. Waste of money. Now, look, the middle was like, okay, this is the God level that he was playing at. But I will say that I'd rather Judge, if Judge has to struggle, where he's had some Octobers that he did struggle. And I think one October that he did struggle was the one where he won his MVP season. And I think that he was mentally and physically exhausted from chasing that home run record, which is why I didn't want him to go after it. And he was on a crazy pace after it. I didn't want that to become a storyline, Beebs. I love the homers. I take them. But I didn't want him to start thinking about it and saying, I'm here, I got to do it. And then that starts to become, because that season, the homer chase became more than what the team was trying to do.
He's exhausted in the playoffs. He was
right.
Yeah, especially with the construction of that team, they even more than this team depended on him to create any offense.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is assuming he gets out of this in fairly short order, and 2 hits last night, drives in a run,
walk.
He's walking.
Had the double play that brought in a
like
run.
5 straight games. Like, I'm okay with this as long as maybe last night was the start of all right. He's getting hot again. And then all of a sudden he's put in 2 good weeks right before the playoffs. And
what if he puts on 2 good weeks? What if this is working in the end of August, right? When was the Paw Patrol thing that happened, right?
His last homer was on August 25th. I don't know what day Paw Patrol was, but
okay, August 25th. Let's just say it's that little bit of time. Like, let's just think back to April where he was struggling throughout all that. He still had a really good on-base percentage around that time. But he wasn't hitting, right? And people were just like, he's done, right? Or he's struggling. He's going to struggle this year. From May on, Judge was like, or from him getting thrown out of that game, whenever that was. I don't know when that was. But from that day on, he was insane level. So he had to cool down. It just had to happen. He had to cool down. He cooled down. So now let him cool down and then come back hot again. And then what if he's going to be hot this time, mid-September, all the way through October? I mean, I'd sign up for that.
Yeah, and he's putting up like the best season ever, the best 400 plate appearance stretch ever. So there's a little bit of natural regression that's coming. Like we said, in April, as long as Judge is healthy, which there's no reason not to believe he's healthy. As long as he's healthy and playing, it's not worth you're spending your time worried about him.
Yeah, indeed.
All right, cool.
Thanks for the voicemail.
Thank you.
How's it going, guys? Huge fan here in Maine, long-time listener. Hey, listen, I don't think I've ever been more nervous / excited / don't know what's going to happen with this Yankees team. It's weird. We look at this past weekend, Judge and Soto kind of, I think, got a glimpse. If they're not pumping out those RBIs and those hits, it kind of looked a little scary there. What was that, first time since 2014 without a home run in a series? It's kind of crazy. Obviously, I think that kind of shows that, there's an issue. So who are we going to rely on here if Judge and Soto don't have good games? It just makes me think. Love the show, guys. Thank you.
Thank you. I think Glaber playing well at leadoff is a big thing. I think Wells His play is awesome. I think the real concern, I'm actually less concerned about like our hitters or like lefties. I'm actually more concerned about what we're going to do against left-handed pitchers. But I think that I do think that I understand what you're saying about, you know, some people not hitting and whatnot, and hopefully Jasson Dominguez can catch some fire and use his abilities, and Jazz can hit as well, and Rizzo. But I think that the biggest key to the lineup, I'm still adamant about this, especially if you want a real sustainable run where you can believe. I think Giancarlo Stanton is the key to that.
Yeah,
I think that in the playoffs, if Judge is hitting, if Soto's hitting, they're going to be on base. You need somebody that can punish teams and not punish them with singles or doubles, with debilitating 3-run homers. And 3-run homers win you ball games, guys. I don't know if you guys heard that quote somewhere before, but 3-run homers win you ball games. So I think if G can get into that wheelhouse, and if he's locked in come October, I think that that's where you can. Giancarlo Stanton allows you to dream about a long October run.
yeah.
That's what I feel.
Stanton is if Stanton's going, that all season said that changes the whole dynamic of the team. They're fortunate that, you know, Glaber is going. If that's a piece that's clicking in the playoffs, and he has a good playoff history, as does G, that is huge. Austin Wells has been going for a very long stretch of time now, since May. His numbers for the season are just good now out of the catcher spot.
Is he the rookie of the year?
I believe this morning he became like the betting favorite. So that's pretty cool. He's been middle of the order, lefty, impact bat. He's starting to like really hit for power of late.
His catching has been good.
His defense behind the plate has been so good, like all season.
Yeah.
He is a huge part of what they're doing. If Dominguez gets into this rhythm here and is the hitter we think he can be, that is incredibly impactful. Jazz Chisholm, we've seen even when he's not necessarily like red hot offensively at the plate, he makes things happen. His outs can be productive. He can be very dynamic on the bases. So thinking back to what this team was in July, and June, July, when these questions were at their biggest, with like, if Judge and Soto aren't going, are they going to do enough? Like, Wells was starting to like really take notice. He was just starting to get a little more playing time. Like, Wells was a different guy. Stanton was not with the team at the time. He was hurt. Dominguez was hurt and in the minor leagues. Jazz Chisholm was a Miami Marlin. So that's 4 pieces that Glaber was really struggling. That's 4 pieces that have been added in that, like, in the back of my head, like, offensively, like, will they do enough? Like, I'm not worried about that. Obviously, things can come up, but and guys can struggle, but that's anytime. Like I think Judge or Soto are like allowed to have a bad series in the playoffs. They have pieces around them to make up for that now. Please don't.
Right.
Because when you two go, we're like the best.
Yeah.
But they have so many more contributors than were with the team June, July, a little bit August too. But there's enough pieces here really going that I'm feeling pretty good about what this lineup might be able to do.
Yes.
Well, it's good you mentioned Jazz, too, because our next caller thinks he might have an impact that extends beyond the clubhouse.
Hey, guys. It's Allie from Long Island, and was just curious on your guys' take on Jazz since he's come over from Miami. Do you think the front office will attempt to bring in more athletic, versatile guys in the future rather than favoring strictly power bats? Thanks. I'll hang up and listen.
What was it? Then favoring what?
Like power vets.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, I think they are gravitating towards athleticism in players. We've seen them really lean on players they've called up, like Volpe, and they went out and got a Jazz, and Dominguez might be a perfect little blend of the two.
They've drafted nothing but like shortstops since like forever.
So yeah, I mean, like every team I think is trying to get a little more athletic, but seeing a few guys who can like really run the bases and create stuff, I think that is something they'll be on the lookout for, especially this off season, because power can get expensive, both in the trade market and in free agency, and this off season, expecting them to re-sign Soto and maybe make a move for a reliever, whether that's retaining Clay or signing someone else, whatever. I expect those things to happen. If something's going to happen at first base, maybe they can get Rizzo. Maybe Rizzo would be back on the smaller number, whatever that is. Like, I expect them to have to get a little creative and like cost conscious on their other moves, and that might mean finding a trade partner for a guy that's going to at least bring like athleticism and defense and whatever. With Glaber being a free agent, that everything points to he'll be playing somewhere else next year. I would imagine that's the route they'd go, just because that's the easiest way to get like cost conscious with your additions.
Yes,
but they'll try to find good players that are cheap.
Yeah, Yankees are always. I think that the Yankees and every team always looking for the most athletic players, because that just means that you're able to do a lot of different things, and you can adapt a lot easier than somebody that's not athletic. We've seen many unathletic Yankee teams. I think we're all done with that.
Yeah, they had 2023 team was not built on power, so don't discount at having power threats.
There have been some
they at least have those in-house.
But I think a lot of that comes with youth. I think athleticism comes with youth.
Having youth, and the team has a good youth core. They have a lot of power in place, assuming Soto's back. You obviously have Aaron Judge and Stanton and all of that. Wells is I don't think going to be hitting for less power moving forward. Right. So like everything, you need the blend.
You need that.
Guys who can beat you teams that can beat you multiple ways.
Oh yeah. Let's go.
Yeah, so as you guys know, on Monday we lost James Earl Jones, who was a prominent actor in a lot of baseball movies. So our next caller had a question about him.
Okay.
Hey guys, I want you to debate the most iconic baseball scene for James Earl Jones, unfortunately passing away Monday at the age of 93. Would love to get your thoughts. Thanks, guys.
I mean, I liked it when he sicked his dog on those kids.
My favorite James Earl Jones line has nothing to do with baseball, but it can apply. He said, "Everything you see exists together in a delicate balance. While others search for what they can take, a true king searches for what he can give." And that's Mufasa. What can you give for the team? I think you could apply that to baseball. You could apply that to anything, you know? So I think that's my favorite. Everything that has to do with him being Mufasa and like that voice is just, that's the only person that I know with that. Lion King taught me a lot growing up.
Lion King taught me a lot. Well said. Sandlot's a good movie.
Yes.
Yeah, he did show those kids.
Yes. Showed them good.
All right, next up, we got a good hypothetical for you.
Okay.
Hey guys, Yosha here. Coming off the great pitching weekend, I have a fun little hypothetical for you guys that hopefully we never need to act on. I want to know who, if forced, you guys are trading from this team. Luis Heel, Clarke Schmidt, or Garrett Cole. You got two of the premier up-and-coming starters and, of course, a legendary pitcher. Admittedly, this question feels a little disrespectful to Cole, but the fact is that he's a lot older and might be past his prime, though he's still amazing. But so are the other guys. Thanks, guys. Bye.
He said, who are you trading off the team?
So the question is, of Cole, Heel, Clarke, who would you trade?
Luis Heel.
Yeah, he feels like the easy answer. He's at a high value right now. He's got years of control left, which would be attractive for getting value back. He's got an injury history and wasn't like this tippy top prospect.
Don't misconstrue that with me not liking him. I love him.
I love everything I've seen from Luis Seal this season.
De Lo Mio, but Schmidt feels more polished. And Garrett Cole is more than just a starting pitcher. I mean, he does so many other things. He provides leadership. He's like the de facto captain of the pitching staff. Mm-hmm. So you take that away, like you got to get that leadership from somewhere else. Who's going to lead the staff then? Mm-hmm. You know, like it's not only about ability. You know, it's like who's also able to take that moment. You know, who's willing to pitch in a game? Who would you like to pitch in a game 7 or a game 1 on the road, or you know, a do or die game that you have to win that game? Who do you want to pitch that? So I think that's all part of that. Who do you want to set the tone? Who do you want to be your stopper? Those are all the same person right now, you know, versus you're fishing for that in different places. What we've gotten from Garrett Cole has been more than what I thought that we were going to get. Like, I thought that he was going to be a guy that's going to be like kind of to himself, like, you know, pitching. I'm on my 5th day, whatever it is, I'll pitch or whatever it is. But he's like, his hands are in the dough.
He is like,
he is the baker.
Games he's not pitching, he's like very actively watching. You see him engage with the other guys.
Yes.
Always like coach giving this tip or noticing this thing. Like Cole does so much for this team. Not even to say like that I didn't expect it. Like it's not something you expect from anybody. What Cole has meant to the team and the organization since basically the second he got here. So he's just like an obvious like no, we're keeping that. And then heel Clarke is the debate there, and like if we're talking about like pedigree and between pedigree, years of control, this like heel was kind of found money. Like he wasn't some like top prospect at
right
any point really. He always seemed talented and all that, but this season he was found money by being even a candidate for like being part of the team this year, and he's been so much more than that. Like he's taken so many steps and all that, but that's also when a lot of teams will trade a guy is when he like just got himself to a value much higher than ever before. Where Clarke has like always been a guy with like value. He was a 1st round pick. Like Clarke is a guy who like is supposed to be good. So like sure he has value as well as a guy who's now proven capable of being like a really good starter, even around some injury stuff. But he'll just would be the one you move. He's sneaky, not that young. Like he's 2 years younger than Clarke. They're basically the same age.
Well, that's it. I mean, it's
like good. It's unfortunate. Like I wish it was a more interesting conversation.
Yeah, there's not. I mean, it's just,
like heels of those 3. Heels the one you would move because you'd also get a lot back for him.
Well, I'm glad that we were able to keep all 3.
Seems like they're gonna keep all 3.
Yes,
all 3 is nice.
Yeah,
I like it. Triples is safe. Triples is best.
Mm-hmm.
Triples make it safe. This is true.
What's up, guys? Jake from Manhattan. I got an issue with how we're treating our prospects. Right now, in our infield, we have Volpe locked up for a while. We got Jazz until 2027. Presumably, we're going to look for a trade. We're going to get some kind of free agent, maybe call back Rizzo. So how many of these prospects do we really need? I get keeping Dominguez. I get keeping Spencer Jones. He might slide in at first base or send one of our outfields to first base. So we really need to be keeping Lombard, Arias, Vivas, all these guys. I get keeping some prospects, but at some point you got to win now, and more prospects are going to come. Interested in what you have to say. Doing nothing is crazy. Love you guys.
Love you too, Jake Storiali. I don't know. What was this? An old voicemail from the deadline? I don't know. We can't do anything about that right now. But I mean, if you're mentioning like off-season stuff, which I can't even like think about right now, but if you're mentioning like off-season stuff, sure. I mean, if it's there do it. Don't just do it just for the sake of doing it.
You don't trade your good prospects just to trade, just because you don't think you're gonna use them here. Like obviously, it's got to be in the right moves.
So when it comes to like trading, let's just say Lombard, right?
Mm.
You don't know. You want to trade obviously somebody when they're like projected, not only projected high, but also almost reaching their potential.
Mm-hmm.
And again, there's development that needs to get done for certain players. So to the point where other teams will look at them as attractive, where they would be willing to give up I don't know, let's just throw out a Mason Miller or something, right?
Sure.
Not even saying that that's out there, but I'm just like,
it's not the important
for
part.
you to attract some like organization. I'm assuming that's who you want. You want somebody that's actually going to better your team.
Mm-hmm.
You got to develop those prospects to be very attractive.
And like in the case of the guys that the caller said there, like Lombard, Arias, Spencer Jones, like Lombard like just got to high A.
Yeah.
Like these guys aren't like ready to go by any, like they're not blocked right now.
I don't think
like,
teams look at people under AA really to trade for. They do, like they'll trade them, but I'm saying like as like a
like you could call it different teams are value guys at different parts in their development, but in general, like anybody that's like not even a AA is.
What
like,
if you give up on a guy too soon?
The further away you are, just the harder it is to quantify like what they're gonna be because they're a couple years away. Like these guys are 2-3 years away from even like being able to play themselves into being part of the MLB roster. And baseball moves quick. Who knows where the team's gonna be then? Even if we're like the caller mentioned, like Rizzo coming back, like all right, probably a 1-year deal. Like
what are you
2-3 years from now when these guys are potentially ready? Some of them will have been traded by then. Like the Yankees will have traded some of them. That's how owning prospects works. Jazz will be gone in 2 years, or is possibly going to be gone in 2 years.
You might be
a free agent.
Yeah, you might be looking at like you're saying Volpe or whatnot, and the Yankees have attached themselves to that horse, and he's very good defensively or whatnot. 2 years from now, what if Lombard is actually not only a great defender, but actually a hitter, and he forces the Yankees' hand to move Volpe off of short? As an example, like it's possible.
Yeah, that's also true. Like Volpe, like I see the vision long term. I see what the Yankees love in him. I expect him to take steps offensively. But yeah, in 2 years, if he's this same player that sure is valuable in like an MLB player, a quality starting shortstop, but like in 2 years, if Lombard's ready, I've heard people call him the most talented player in the organization, like in the minor league system rather. Like when he's ready, if like Volpe hasn't taken the step or Jazz has stalled out or what they currently don't have a second baseman in place for after this season.
Yeah.
Assuming Jazz sticks at third. Like who knows where the team's gonna be. I don't have any issue with them having not traded these guys yet. I wouldn't have issued if they did and they thought it was the right move. Like it's all part of it. It's not decision time yet for any of these kids.
Patience is a virtue. That's all.
All right, I got one more quick one. Okay. Not Yankee related. I'm also just curious, as this fan is.
Okay.
Hey guys, Pat here. Not just a Yankee question, but I was wondering how the John Boy fantasy baseball season is going. Thanks. See ya.
I mean, now that you mention it, I think my team's cooked.
My team had a really nice regular season. I think I started like 1-4 or so, 1-3, and I know I finished like 12-5 for the regular season, but I believe Max Manus and Jimmy did just knock me out of the playoffs.
I didn't know it was still going.
I believe.
Yeah, I mean, I'm severely. I was severely cooked a while.
I finished 15-7. So
I was 16-6. Yeah, so it wasn't things didn't go good for me. I had that is obvious. I had who was it that got hurt for me and it kind of like slumped my season? Mookie Betts. When Mookie got hurt and he was out for a chunk of the season, it just kind of it killed me. And yeah, that was kind of like where it's at. Like
yeah, I lost Acuna pretty early on.
Yeah,
that was my 1-1.
There's a point in the season that if your team gets hurt or that you don't see how your team can beat the other teams, and people are not gonna like trade. I don't even think a trade happened. So
I'm not a big fantasy trader, although I started a dynasty fantasy football league with like college friends. I'm excited that in that context, trading, the emphasis on trading is.
I wasn't the one
relevant.
with the worst record. Dalton Feely was 22-0.
Yeah, Dalton went sicko mode on that. So
he was 22-0. Jimmy, I'm sorry, Max's team 15-7.
I finished first place in the red division. So
Doyle going 22-0 is insane.
That's wild.
That's crazy.
I
don't feel safe.
I take it
I think I'm still alive, actually.
He won?
He might win.
Feels like he's trending towards winning. Let's look at who's on Dalton's team.
I don't even know who's
Shea
on Dalton's team.
Langeliers, Matt Olson, Ryan McMahon, using his second base eligibility. He's got Ellie and Bobby Witt, so racking up steals. Randy, Brenton Doyle, Jaron Duran, Bryce Terang, who's had a good year, Reisel, Kopech, Pablo Lopez, Mason Miller, okay. David Peterson currently on the squad, Munoz, Devin Williams. He's got a team.
Sounds like he's getting a lot of relief points.
Spencer Schwellenbach. Yeah, I'm not certain he even has bench position players, which maybe is smart.
Yeah.
Well, thanks. I enjoyed the update.
Thank you guys for leaving us voicemails this week. We appreciate you, definitely, especially the Mufasa question. James Earl Jones, R.I.P. to you.
R.I.P.
Voicemail line 908-845-5792. We are here for you, and hopefully the Yankees have a phenomenal week from now to the end of the week, and they swept every series. And by the time we're next voicemail, we're just talking about who we facing in the third round.
Third
round. You know what the third round is.
Houston.
That's not if we win the division.
Our third round.
ALDS.
Yeah.
ALCS.
Our third round. Go Yanks.
Yanks are winning the division.
Hit is high.
Voicemails.
Hit is far.
Voicemails.
Talkin' Yanks voicemail show.